Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I am Adebola Adeduba. Here are sub-stories making the rounds beyond the continent. We begin with the UK general election, where it is not uncommon to see candidates with diverse backgrounds, including British Nigerians. Now, British Nigerian candidates bring a unique perspective and experience to the political landscape, contributing a more diverse and representative government. Their participation in the election process highlights the importance of inclusion and equal representation in democratic societies. For News Central, Afua Hagan has been speaking to two candidates, reflecting the changing demographics and aspirations of the nation.
British-Nigerian candidates in UK elections reflect the nation's multiculturalism. Their participation brings diverse perspectives to politics, highlighting inclusivity and equal representation in Britain's evolving democratic society. At least 30 British Nigerians will contest in the UK's July 4th elections. To stand for UK Parliament, candidates must be at least 18 and a Commonwealth citizen with indefinite leave to remain in the UK. British Nigerians will be representing mainstream parties across the board, including the Labour Party, the Conservative Party and the Liberal Democrats, while the rest are from smaller parties like the Workers' Party of Britain and the Yoruba Party in the UK. Some are even contesting as independents. Jennifer Obaseki is running for the Workers' Party of Britain in Tottenham in North London. She says it's time for change in her community.
That one of the reasons I'm running is I do feel that David Lammy, who has spent more than 20 years in Tottenham, does need to move on. He's become a career politician. He's forgotten about the community. And one of the mantras of my actual campaign is community first, because we need to bring back the focus of Tottenham, which is the community. Many of the intervention projects and community projects have lost funding, and therefore a lot of the vulnerable people have been sidelined to gentrification, which is something I want to bring a halt to. We want development, but development for all, not just for those who are coming in from outside of Tottenham who can afford it.
Josiah Uche is also running for the Workers' Party of Britain in a constituency in Mid-Derbyshire. He says it's about time the British-Nigerian community was represented in British politics.
There's quite a huge Nigerian communities in the UK. I mean, this goes back since around 1960s, in London, in various places. And there's a high number of Nigerian students as well coming to the UK. So, and recently, there has been a lot of, Nigerians coming to resettle in the UK as well. So, British life is, part and parcel of, who we are as well as, as a very important member of the community. So I feel like, obviously, me, myself being one of them, everyone I've spoken to, we feel like, it's time. We currently, we don't have any, we actually underrepresented, represented here. So it's about time that obviously we put ourselves out there. So I think to show that we are part of the British community.
The next general election is set to herald the most diverse parliament ever, with record numbers of ethnic minority and female MPs, and British Nigerians are certainly at the forefront of this multicultural movement. With polls closing at 10 p.m. on Thursday, results are expected on Friday. The current Conservative government is widely expected to be defeated by Labour, with the party potentially winning a supermajority. For News Central, I'm Afua Hagan.
And joining me to discuss this is a foreign policy analyst, Bolu Michael-Biyi. Good evening, glad to have you join me.
Good evening, thanks for having me.
All right, now how does the increase in diversity in the UK Parliament impact the country's foreign policy decisions and also international relations?
You see, the Parliament of a country must reflect the face of a country. Imagine a country that is predominantly Black, for instance, and majority in parliament are white. That's almost apathetic, and it's not reflective of the face of the country. So it's a welcome development that there's increased diversity within the UK Parliament. This election is going to be keenly watched all over the world, and it allows for better foreign policy decisions, because if you have different perspective, you are likely to have a more robust outcome. And research has backed it that 7% of teams make better decisions when they are diverse.
But then, on the other hand, what challenges might arise in integrating a more diverse range of perspectives into British foreign policy formulation and also implementation?
When you have 10 different people, you have 10 different opinions, 10 different perspectives, because they have different experiences, different backgrounds and all. So there's a likelihood that the parliament might spend more time reaching a consensus. As we've seen in different parliaments all over the world. For example, in the United States, there's a law of filibuster whereby somebody just gets up and tries to delay the deliberation in order to ensure that the policy is not passed, and things like that might come up. And another challenge that the parliament might face would be deciding what should be the policy priority of the government. For example, the SNP, the Scottish National Party, may have having a second referendum top of the agenda. But the Labour, the Workers' Party, the Conservative Party, that is not their priority. And if the SNP puts that forward and it shrinks to the side, they might feel aggrieved, and that's the beginning of conflict within the parliament. So some of these differences might come up, and 30% of they'll spend new teams and diverse teams spend 30% more time in reaching a consensus before they now gel and understand each other.
Okay, let's take a look now at the global stage. In what ways does the diverse parliament contribute to UK's soft power and also influence on the global stage?
The UK is a very important nation. Historically, being a colonial power and all, and they pride themselves in having a stable economy as well as a stable, political system. And we've seen countries around the world copy the UK parliamentary style because it's widely admired, and that's soft power on its own. That's why in 2022, when Liz Truss was Prime Minister, I think between July and September, and there were political issues, it affected the political economy of the United Kingdom because it's not Britain-like, it's not British-like, and that made the market to panic, and investors began to panic and leave and all that. So now that things are more stable, the United Kingdom can pride itself again as a good example of a stable democracy and a stable economy, and that itself is good for the nation. And 78% of global citizens, they view a diverse leadership as a plus in building a profile of a country.
Now let's talk about a bit of history here. Looking at historical contexts and also recent trends, how might the composition of the UK Parliament continue to evolve in terms of diversity? And also, what implications could these have on future foreign policy directions?
You see, it's been projected that by 2030, there's going to be a 20% increase in representation of minority groups. And I wish that we'll be able to exceed that figure. And when we have a diverse leadership, it boosts the profile of the country. It helps the country to make better decisions, and especially policy direction. For example, we have the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan from, Indian heritage, same as Rishi Sunak, the current prime minister. And it will surprise you that this may actually influence the kind of relationship they might have with, countries like India and entire Southeast region in terms of trade, economy, and other things. And you know what it feels like. For example, when President Barack Obama, being the first Black president of the United States, was on seat, you saw how it's kind of lifted and boosted the profile of the Black race, and that's what diversity in leadership can lead to. And I hope we'll be able to exceed that figure in the United Kingdom in coming years.
We hope so too. Thank you so much for your insight on the news. Bolu Michael-Biyi, foreign policy analyst, many thanks for your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Government leaders of Poland and Germany on Tuesday held wide bilateral consultations aimed at giving a new impulse to neighborly relations that sagged under Poland's previous government. Now, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz traveled with 12 ministers and government members, including Defense Minister Boris Pistorius, for the meeting in Warsaw. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk and Scholz discussed defense cooperation as well as countering illegal immigration, which has become a problem on Poland's eastern border with Belarus.
Polska jako jedna z największych ofiar II wojny światowej, Niemcy jako sprawcy tego nieszczęścia, tej tragedii II wojny światowej, dzisiaj jako narody wolne, demokratyczne, europejskie powinny wspólnie skutecznie zadbać o to, aby Europa była bezpieczna, żeby tragedia wojny nigdy na naszych ziemiach się nie powtórzyła. I dlatego nie mam żadnych wątpliwości. A w tych czasach, w czasach wojny, agresji rosyjskiej na Ukrainę, w czasach politycznej dekompozycji właściwie nikt nie powinien mieć wątpliwości, jak ważna jest współpraca polsko-niemiecka i to w takiej przyjaznej atmosferze, przy wzajemnym zaufaniu dla polityki obu państw, ale też dla całej polityki europejskiej i dla przyszłości Ukrainy i całego regionu.
The Netherlands' new right-wing cabinet was officially sworn in on Tuesday, completing the transfer of power from outgoing Prime Minister Mark Rutte to his successor Dick Schoof. 67-year-old Schoof, his team of 16 ministers and 13 junior ministers pledged before King William Alexandra to perform their duties honestly and conduct themselves as befits a good and just civil servant. The hour-long ceremony was rounded off with the traditional photo call with the king on the steps of the palace. The United States will provide a new $2.3 billion security assistance package for Ukraine that would include key air defense and anti-tank weapons. This was disclosed by U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Tuesday. The announcement comes as Kyiv's weakened and outgunned forces are struggling to hold back invading Russian troops, with Moscow regularly claiming the capture of new villages in eastern Ukraine. The U.S. has been a key military backer of Ukraine, committing more than $51 billion in weapons, ammunition, and other security assistance since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022.
It will also enable the United States to procure more Patriot NASAMS, air defense interceptors, which will be provided on an accelerated timeline. Now, as we look ahead to the NATO summit next week, Rustem, we'll take steps to build a bridge to NATO membership for Ukraine. Just weeks ago, President Zelensky and President Biden signed a crucial 10-year bilateral security agreement. And that reflects our strong and enduring support for Ukraine.
We appreciate for the comprehensive assistance and all the support you've been giving us. With that support, we've stopped Russia, stopped the aggression towards people, towards our...
You're watching Beyond the Continent. Let's take a short break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. The George Washington Carrier Strike Group and Colombian Navy and Air Force concluded a series of bilateral exercises as part of Southern Seas 2024 while underway in the Pacific Ocean June 30th. George Washington Carrier Strike Group and Colombian Maritime Forces conducted warfare area exercises, which includes numerous ships and aircraft from both participating countries to increase capabilities and enhance the interoperability in the region. The exercise included an air power demonstration, a leapfrog demonstration, a visit, a board search and seizure exercise, and senior leader experts exchanges.
Vamos a tener un grupo de tarea americano compuesto por el portaaviones USS George Washington, 2 destructores escolta, más los 100 aviones de combate que vienen a bordo del portaaviones. Por parte de la Armada de Colombia tenemos un grupo de tarea compuesto por unidades de superficie, el RC Victoria, el RC Nariño, asimismo unidades aeronavales, de guardacostas y un grupo de fuerzas especiales.
Una experiencia impactante en mi carrera y en las operaciones que nosotros realizamos. Un portaaviones en realidad está hecho para las operaciones aéreas y para el transporte, la capacidad de tripulación y de aviones, y me pareció impresionante. Lo que más me gustó fue ver los aviones ser lanzados.
Que siempre le llamo yo son las operaciones aéreas, teniendo en cuenta pues que hemos tenido operaciones con nuestra ala embarcada y recibimos a bordo un helicóptero MH-60 Seahawk a bordo de nuestra plataforma, y es la primera vez que una plataforma de vuelo de una unidad colombiana recibe este tipo de helicóptero.
The wife of Iranian-Swedish academic on death row in Iran since 2017 says she is full of anger after meeting Sweden's foreign minister to pressure him to secure her husband's release. Amdezreza Jalali, who holds dual citizenship, was arrested in Iran in 2016 and sentenced to death on espionage charges, accusations his family say are utterly baseless. Spouse of the Iranian-Swedish academic, Vida Merania, said she does not have information about her husband after her meeting with Foreign Minister Tobias Billström.
I said we are talking and we are demanding release him as soon as possible, but I think they didn't have done really too much, because Ahmed is under this sentence for 8 years and 3 months. So they don't have any information, and also I asked them because Mr. Sean said that Ahmed's case is specific, and I asked them what is the specific case, can you clarify it to me? They didn't have any answer to me. I'm full of anger and really hurt.
Turkish authorities say they have detained over 470 people after anti-Syrian riots in several cities sparked accusations that a Syrian man had harassed a child. Tensions escalated in the central Anatolian city of Kayseri after a mob went on rampage, damaging businesses and properties belonging to Syrians. Violence spread to several other provinces, and authorities have called for calm. 474 people were detained after the provocative actions carried out against Syrians in Turkey court in Kayseri ordered a Syrian man's arrest late on Monday. Turkish police boosted security around the Syrian consulate in Istanbul on Tuesday, deploying armored truck and patrolling the vicinity. In Asia, almost 100 people were crushed to death at a Hindu religious gathering in northern India on Tuesday, with many others injured. A senior government official said a large crowd had gathered near the city of Hathras for a sermon by a preacher, but many were crushed or trampled in panic, falling on top of each other as they tried to leave the event, concluded. Chatira Divisional Commissioner of Algier City in Uttar Pradesh State said 97 deaths have been confirmed so far, and officials are focusing on providing relief and medical aid for the victims. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced compensation of $2,400 to the next of kin of those who died and $600 to those injured in the tragic incident.
सत्संग हुआ था, फिर खत्म हो गया। खत्म होने के बाद सब लोग भाग छूटे तो माँ आगे नालों सड़क ऊंची नालों से तो गांव में गिरे एक ते ऊपर एक जो दबे गए जो खत्म हो गए फिर दो लोग वागन ने खींचे वो
ये हाथरस जनपद के सिकंदराराव तहसील में ये घटना हुई है और यहाँ भी जनपद एटा में 27 डेड बॉडीज आ चुकी हैं, जिनमें 2 पुरुष हैं, बाकी सब 25 लोग महिलाएं हैं। उनके पोस्टमार्टम की प्रक्रिया शुरू हो रही है, शिनाख्त की जा रही है। जैसे शिनाख्त हो जाएगी सब पंचनामा की प्रक्रिया करते हुए पोस्टमार्टम कार्रवाई की जाएगी।
In sports, British tennis player Andy Murray has decided not to play in the Wimbledon singles, instead making his farewell to the All England club in the doubles alongside older brother Jamie. Murray, who is planning to retire later this year, had surgery 10 days ago on a back issue. The 37-year-old, who won Wimbledon in 2013 and 2016, was due to play Thomas Macha of Czech Republic on center court on Tuesday. Former world #1 Murray had a cyst close to his spinal cord removed on Saturday because it was causing nerve pain in his right leg. 185 kilometers of lanes around Paris on the Ring Road and motorways will be reserved for accredited vehicles to transport those involved, such as athletes, journalists, taxis, but also emergency vehicles in the Paris 2024 Olympic Games from 15th of July. In the event of a medical emergency, emergency vehicles and vehicles designed to facilitate the transport of people with reduced mobility are also authorized to use these lanes to reach them and transport them to the hospitals. The roads affected by the 185 kilometers of Olympic lanes are A1 between Rossi Charles de Gaulle and Porte de Chapelle, A4 between Colligan and La Porte-Bercy, and A12 between Roquecourt and Montigny-le-Bretonneux. And that's all on Beyond the Continent. To send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adeduba. It's bye for now.